Okay, what we're going to talk about in this segment is how to use the grunt call. Grunt call can be used at any time of the season, and it can be easily overdone because the deer is not that vocal of an animal. Most generally, what I would suggest you get, if you're a first-time hunter, is to get, a medium length and medium tube width. That way you're not getting into something that's too light a sound that won't travel, or you don't get one that is too big and it scares the deer when it gets closer in. For what I use the HS calls Quad Grunter, and it's got 4 different calls in it. It's got a fawn, a doe, a young buck, and a mature buck. With this style, from the H&S, this system has what is called an O-ring. The O-ring easily slides up and down for whatever purpose that you want to use it for. After I just showed you the O-ring, now I'm going to actually, blow into the unit itself to show you what the sounds do make when, you use the product. First one we're going to look at is the fawn, which is a very, very high-pitched squeal, in case of duress or anything like that. The next one after that is the doe, which is a little bit deeper, but still it's not as high as a buck would be. Then after that you got the younger bucks, maybe 2 to 3 years old. And last but not least, the mature buck, the one buck that everybody's always hoping that's out there waiting on him. Well, as you can see, all those different sounds, have a real distinct about it. You know which one is which when you hear it, and so does the buck. So generally, anybody could just blow into this thing. There's a technique to it. You can't blow into this thing like it's a whistle. You probably blow your reed, and you'll just be wasting your money and going out and buying another one. It's just real short puffs. It's just not, it's not a duck call. So, just take real short blows into it, nothing too extravagant. But, as you learn and play with it, which I do suggest you do is, practice with it before you go out with it. If anything, take it outside, just play with it on the back porch, something like that. If your mother allows you, you can sure as well do it inside, or your wife, but generally they'll tell you to knock that racket off and take it outside. So your best bet is just take it outside, roam around with it, and just just play around with it. Your neighbors might think you're a little weird, but what are they? Who cares what they think? So when you practiced, you know what you're doing with it. You're proficient of it when you're outside, using it in the woods when you're hunting. Now's the time to put a little trick into it. Deer are individuals, none of them sound alike, just like you and me. We don't sound alike. So, give your deer call a personality. Give it some emotions. And, you can do that by putting your hand over the end, the end, like I'll show you here in a second, and just make some different noises with it to give it like a little personality, like it's somebody that he doesn't know. I'll give you an example. Just make it something that the deer's not used to, and it might make him think, what's going on over here that's different? He might come in and check it out. Alright, the time's not to really use your grunt call. The biggest and most important time is when a deer is in bow range, because the deer's hearing is amazing. I mean, they use their ears like radars. If you've ever watched them in the woods, their ears will twitch, whichever way they hear a sound that they want to know where it's coming from. You give a toot on this when he's too close, he'll look straight up at you and your hunt might as well be over, because he'll spot you before you even know it. So if he's coming in maybe 50 to 75 yards, you're fine and dandy. But once he starts getting to 40 to 30, don't be hooting on this a whole lot. When to use your grunt call is, let's say we're going out in the woods, we just got in here, you just sat down, you're eager and you want to go. My suggestion is hold up and wait a minute. You just, tromped all through the woods and you might have made some noise, coming through there. I mean, most generally everybody does. Number one thing I would suggest you do is go ahead and sit, wait about 15 to 20 minutes. That way, whatever noise you caused when you was coming into the woods settles down. And that might, if you spooked any deer, it might settle them down too and relax and say, okay, well, whatever the threat was that spooked me is gone now. Then there's a time where you can use your grunt call and your rattling too, but we'll discuss that in another segment. But don't be afraid to use your grunt call. And you might not even get bucks in here. What's amazing, does actually come into a grunt call too. And you might think, well, why would a doe want to come in to a male's call? Well, for one, she might be in heat and be ready to have a buck. So if you got a doe that's in heat and she's walking in here around rut time, it might be a good idea to hold off on your doe. If she comes in bow range, maybe she'll have a nice buck that'll be trailing her, and there you go. If you're interested at all in purchasing our videos, please visit www.geocities.com/Northernview Outdoors. Plus, look for Northernview Outdoors on MySpace with the official Northernview Outdoor MySpace page. Thanks for watching.